How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael, the one and only Kaiju Sage. This is attempt number 2 at this video because about 12 minutes into recording, something happened and my OBS screwed up. So let's try this again. Hi. Today I'm going to be talking about a build concept that I don't really have a name for yet. I'm just calling it the Quadcast Consecrated Path Chieftain. It's just a for fun build that I've had in my mind for a long time. Something to use the Savior Legion Sword and also taking advantage of Towhoa Forest Strength. So essentially, this works using, like I said, using the Savior Legion Sword and using Towhoa Forest Strength. And basically, you're casting once, you have both of the Savior reflections going, and then you have the Towhoa's Chosen, I think is the actual skill. Yeah, level 20 Towhoa's Chosen activates. All of this is just tearing up the screen. It's going crazy, having a good time, and it just sounds like a lot of fun. I just think it's a for fun build. Um, so this is just a build concept. At this point, it's just a theory. I plan on actually making this build, so just wait on doing anything with this build. If you really want to try it and you're really determined, you're welcome to. But I would say just wait, 2 to 3 weeks into the league. I'll make this myself, and I'll let you know if it's actually worth doing or not. So let's talk about the ideas of the build and everything else, the goals for it. So first off and foremost, this is a for fun build. I plan on making a lot of these style of builds just a for fun build. It's not a clear everything build. This is not a boss killer, okay? This is not meant to kill Ubers, and it's not meant to clear Wave 30 Simulacrum. It's not made for all of this, that, and the other. This is made to just have fun, to clear some tier 16 maps pretty effectively, very quickly, and just have a good time. I just want to use the stuff and have a good time. I've always had the idea, just the vision in my head of two shadow clones of myself running around doing with the Savior, and then the Towhoa, which is basically a Mirage Archer esque, a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure stand, just tearing things up for me. All of this while I'm running around, looting, doing things, and just having a good time. Like, it just sounds like a lot of fun. So with that in mind, that's the idea overall, and then just trying to make that work. That's the hardest part. As I said, so this is a for fun, clear build. This is probably the most soft core viable build, as the best way to put it. It's a soft core viable build. It's like I have 6 portals, and by God, I'm gonna use them. Like it's like you're using an Abyssus. First of all, damage is kind of a problem in this build. So we're using an Abyssus to help make up for that. There's almost nothing else that can match the damage in the helm slot of an Abyssus. So I'm going to plan on using that. It's been a while since I've done one, so let's do that. As I said, the goal is using Towhoa for Strength and the Savior, so we're going to do that. Because we're using a Savior, it is a dual wield crit build. That is basically the only possible way that I can think to make this actually work and still have the damage necessary to actually kill things. So, in the other hand, we're going to be using the Paradoxica. It's a unique sword. It comes from Betrayal. If you don't know what it is, you can look it up. But it has 2 veiled modifiers, and it's a pretty strong sword that also has the line, your hits with this weapon deal double damage. So it's a 100% chance to deal double damage. It's great. The current biggest problem with the build that I see as it is, baseline just your standalone DPS, as you can see over here in Path of Building, I believe here. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm in the window. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So your DPS is hovering, this says 2 million. The problem is that is assuming that Nagamu Flame's Advance is active, among other things. There's a lot of problems with this. I wouldn't rely on this for your DPS. When this is not active, you're going to lose about 1 million DPS because this is gain 100% physical damage as extra fire for 4 seconds every 10 seconds. So it has a 6 second downtime, and so that's kind of where I said you're going to have a bit of an inconsistent damage. So you're looking at a baseline DPS of about 1.5 to 2.5 million on average. And while you're gearing up, you're looking, around a million to 1.5 million. You are attacking 3 times a second. You can see the attack rate is 2.91 currently. So that's, it's pretty respectable. That's good damage for doing a dual wield crit build with, the double damage from the Paradoxica. When that procs, you're going to be great. I would put the peak damage somewhere around, I would say, in the range of 6 to 10 million damage. The peak when Chris Wilson looks down on you and smiles and blesses you with RNG and everything works and you have all your charges and all your flasks and everything is perfect, you're looking at around 10 million DPS because as I said before, you're going to have your baseline is around 2.5 max. But then if you go over here, and I already have it active, but here, let me turn it off for the sake of things. And so you check the include in full DPS down here and it'll show you. So with the reflections turned on from the Savior, you get one reflection by default. You click that, and basically this, it's just showing essentially you'll have an extra copy of yourself doing that. And then this is a reflection of your full DPS. Afterwards, assuming everything is working properly, you'll be doing about 5.6 million DPS. When you check this on Towhoa Forest Strength, the Ascendancy node, it does not get calculated in. It just, I guess, path building, they've never done the work behind the scenes. That's fine. No hate. I looked this up on the wiki. This does 50% more damage when it activates. This is the Mirage Archer-esque, echo above you. When it activates, you hit with a slam skill, it'll do it, it'll scream aloud like a war cry almost, and then do the attack. I believe it has a 2-second internal cooldown, so it's not something that's going to be happening all the time, but it does 50% more damage. So when this activates, and you have the reflections up, and you have yourself hitting with everything, assuming you're hitting with the Paradoxica, not you're hitting, because if you're hitting with your offhand of the Savior, you're probably going to be hitting that 1 million number. But if you're hitting with the Paradoxica, you're going to be doing, and you crit and everything works, you're going to be doing about the 2.5 million. Your clones are going to be doing an additional 2.5 million. So you're looking at, 5 million. And then loosely we'll say Towhoa's will do a 4 million hit because this is taking 2.8 or 2.5 million rather, hitting it with a 50% more multiplier, which I think is effectively double damage. But for the sake of things and round numbers, let's just say that it'll do about 4 million damage. And then you're going to hit 10 million. When all things work and everything is perfect, you're looking at about 10 million DPS cap on paper. God forbid, this is this is very dicey. Let's put it that way. That's why, like I said, it's a build concept. It's, who knows? Who knows how this will actually work out? I'll find out when I actually make the build. I hope this works out pretty well because this is a lot of fun. I've toyed around with this idea before, but I never actually executed on it with the idea of actually making this. This build is definitely not a league starter. I will say that much. I think I mentioned that earlier, but it's definitely not a league starter for several reasons. Number one, you're looking for a lot of items, a Paradoxica, an Abyssus, a very expensive body armor. You're probably looking at about 15 to 30 exalts realistically to get this build going, and you're probably looking at around 50 to fully cap it out and max it out with a double modifier, Watcher's Eye, and some other stuff, and a lot of good jewels. You're probably looking at a lot of chaos and exalts here, so definitely don't just go into this expecting just to make a low investment good character. This is a for fun character. It's going to be pretty expensive, and it might just absolutely suck ass. I don't know how else to put it, but hey, that's okay. With all of that in mind, it's, when everything works out, if it can hit about 10 million DPS and, you've got all the clones tearing things up and everything's going wild, I think it'll still be a really, really fun build. And I think it'll be fun. That's the biggest, word of the day for this video is fun and interesting. Um, so with all that in mind, let's talk about the defenses a little bit, overall build stuff, and just talking about the, like I said, just loosely the pros of the build and the ideas. And please let me know down in the comments, especially on defenses. Let me know if there's anything else that you can think of that I haven't included here. Um, and if you have some like really big brain DPS checks and things that you know about that I don't, please also let me know down below. Let me know if there's anything that I'm forgetting. But yeah, so let's go to the tree over here, and real easy, real simply, take the Fortify Mastery. You've always got Fortify active. It's really easy. It's just free defense, especially because we're using an Abyssus, which I've said the name, but if you've never seen it, it's right here. Here's what it does. Fizz damage, all attributes, crit multi, it's an armor item, and then you get the downside, which is you take 40% increased physical damage. It's kind of rough, but hey, that's fine. We're going to be fortified. We have a baseline of 20k armor. I wanted to leave this alone so that I can show what this is. This will peak out at roughly 50,000, because right now this is without my flasks active. So with a basalt and a granite active, you're looking at around 40k. And if you go over here, I believe, where did I have my auras? I have Molten Shell currently enabled, so that is assuming Molten Shell is active. And then assuming that you activate, where is it? It was Defiance Banner. Assuming that you have Defiance Banner active and you activate this, this is getting nerfed in 3.19. They've announced it in the Balance Manifesto. This will actually be 24% increased armor and evasion rating. So basically cut this increase in half, and as you can see, it's about 11,000 armor. So we're talking about give or take 45,000 armor for the new version, because you'll get about half the benefit from it. It's, that's fine. And then with a few other tweaks to the build and some other stuff, you're looking at right around 50k armor when you've peaked everything out and everything is spec'd. Once you've gotten to level 95 and everything's good, you're looking at about 6k HP, because you've got 149 from the tree. This is currently assuming 4 rare jewels, each with 7% life. Is not factored into this, so you'll get an extra 28% max life, which will put you at 177, I believe, if my math is right, just quickly in my head. So you're looking at about 6k, maybe 6,300. But yeah, 6k life, 50k armor, pretty solid. You're looking at a bunch of life regen. As you can see here, we're taking the endurance charges stuff. To get that, we're putting one additional endurance charge. If you want to go to level 100, take this for sure, because it's just a lot of regen. But yeah, you're getting about net of about 450 regen. You're getting about 1,000 life regen once you have the Watcher's Eye spec'd right here, which I'm assuming a 1.3 Fire Leech is life, Anger Watcher's Eye, pretty good. And then from the you get a little bit more leech from your Ascendancy. It's pretty solid, pretty reliable amount of healing from regen and otherwise. And this is assuming that you're on consecrated ground. I have it checked in the configuration because we're using consecrated path. So every time you hit something, you create consecrated ground underneath you. You will basically always be on consecrated ground. Plus, again, your clones are going to be creating it. Your Towhoa's Chosen will be creating it, I believe. That's one thing I'll have to test when I actually do the build. I think they create it as well. You also have, as you can see, 80% max fire res and 78% of the others. I would say if you send the build up to 100, this is 95 with helping Alira. So I would put 1 here, put 1 in each of these other max res, get up to 79. And then the last thing is, this is assuming using 1 large cluster jewel, and you can put your last 2 points here and get 35% more fire damage with another little 12 there. pretty good damage all around. You're going to be using Warcry, but you're only going to be using Infernal Cry for damage, so I wouldn't really, don't worry about using a defensive Warcry there. You're just using Infernal Cry to activate this and get your endurance charges up. And for the damage of Infernal Cry, obviously, it's just a really big DPS increase. It's great. The block chance is negligible. You just get 15% block chance, I believe, for dual wielding, so who cares? It's not really relevant. And that about sums up everything that I've currently thought of for the build. It's pretty solid overall. The idea shaped up nicely. I kind of threw this together in a couple of hours, so this was just a good idea that I have. I'm going to make a few other build ideas, build concepts, and I'm going to execute on them during the next league. Let me know what you think. Let me know down below in the comments if you have any suggestions for this build. Let me know if you have any suggestions for other just super for fun builds that you would like to see work and have never really thought about a way to make them work. I might, I can try to help you out a little bit. Do keep in mind, as I said above and before at the beginning, this is very susceptible to one-shots. This is a for fun, soft core build. Definitely a trade league build. Don't try to do this in SSF. You'll have a bad time getting all the items that I showed here. I'll link the POB down below. But again, this is not a finished product. This is just my ramblings at like 11 o'clock at night that I had this idea in my head. Hopefully, with the changes that they will make in 3.19, they will make things a little bit less scary with rares and all the new rare mods that they added. We'll have to wait and find out. I'm recording this on a Tuesday, so the live stream's happening on the 11th, so this coming Thursday. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Hopefully, it will be a good news situation, and we'll get to see some, slightly easing, a little bit of loosening the reins a little bit on some of these, builds and stuff. So hopefully this will make the build even more viable, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me know down below if you have any suggestions. I really appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, and subscribe if you're new here. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Have a great day.